So here's another question. You say, like, do we really need that? So I think you said that you cut out all the boring, useless bits. But the truth is, sometimes that's much harder than you realize, especially if a book is supposed to be only 500 words. What are the boring, useless bits? Because sometimes all of it is actually adding to the story. But the big question is the structure right? Like, for example, a story has to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. Do you understand what the beginning, the middle, and the end are? If you don't, the writer and I have done something wrong. You didn't get the whole point of the story. And is the tone right? So is it boring? Do you find it interesting? If you find it interesting, we've got the tone right. You find it boring, we've messed up. Does it read well? This is actually a really funny thing. When you're writing, you think everything sounds great. When you read it out loud, maybe not. This is a really funny phenomenon, by the way. Next time you're writing a story, sit down by yourself if you have to, read it out loud. You'll want to find like 10 things you want to change. It always happens. It's a very strange phenomenon, but it's true. And because this is a picture book, it's going to be paired with illustrations. A lot of the times we have to ask ourselves, can we show something without having to tell it? So for example, the shark is in the desert. How do you even, if you don't want to say the shark is in the desert, you can say the shark is on his way to a birthday party. But what you can do is show with illustrations where he is. So that is part of the thing. Can we show, not tell? And it's really to do with the fact that picture books are a partnership. It's 50-50. 50% words, 50% illustrations, which Sheena and Adrija are going to take you through after that. And is it confusing? Again, this is a really important question. Are you confused? Is there something you don't get? In which case, we have to correct that. And who is the audience for this? So for example, for a picture book, usually our audience is between like 4 years old to about 11. And there's different levels of picture books, obviously. So not everything is for everybody. But say this story, which Venkat has told you, is maybe, for about a 6 to 8 audience? Yeah. If there's something there that a 6-year-old or a 7 or 8-year-old doesn't understand, we've done our job wrong. So you always have to know who your audience is. If you're writing for each other, if you've written something that someone your age doesn't get, then you guys have made a mistake and you need to edit it. Yeah? And of course, there's the boring stuff. Your grammar has to be better, your punctuation has to be better, your sentences have to be shorter. But this is the gist of what you have to do when you edit. So I want to kind of do a short exercise with you guys. How many of you have written in groups? Can you put your hands up? And now, how many of you have written individually? Yeah? Okay, so can I have one person from each group stand up? Yeah? The person who has the story, basically. Has someone written the story somewhere? Like, there has to be one copy, right? Yeah? Okay. Now, exchange notebooks. I want you guys to be reading someone else's story. You shouldn't, huh? Yeah, next. That's next. Hold on. So, has everybody switched? Nobody's holding their own story, right? Groups? Yeah? Okay, individuals, whose hands up? Yeah? Switch among yourselves. Nobody should be holding their own story. Did you switch? I know you've written the tragic story, please switch. Okay. Alright guys, so I'm going to give you 20 minutes to edit your friend's story.